Hello and welcome to this walkthrough guide to The Last of Us Part 1 on Grounded. In this guide, I'm going to take you through every single encounter from the beginning to the end of the game and talk through how to get through that on the hardest difficulty. So if this is something that you are either struggling with on your first Grounded playthrough, or you just want to get better at, perhaps you want to take on challenges in the game like Grounded Permadeath or something else, then this will be the guide for you to help you improve your gameplay, learn some strats that will make things a lot more straightforward and smooth, and just generally kind of get more acquainted and more familiar with the game. Now, before we dive into the game itself, just to mention that this walkthrough is going to be on the basis of playing the game on New Game rather than New Game Plus. So we will be going in without any upgrades or weapons or anything from any previous playthroughs. It will be starting from scratch. And in most cases, the strategies that I show will be ones that work best or sometimes work only from the beginning of the encounter. If you restart a checkpoint or restart encounter, you might get different variations with the enemies and different patterns, so it will affect kind of the timing of things. That doesn't mean that these strategies are impossible. It just means that they are then going to need some adapting from that. Because, again, this is my experience generally playing on Grounded New Game and on Permadeath, where there are no restarts to checkpoints. So I'm going to talk through that and cover specific mechanics and specific gameplay tips and tricks as we go along and as they become relevant, such as particular melee mechanics that might come in useful, particular shooting mechanics that might come in useful. So those will be timestamped alongside the timestamps for the encounters themselves. So even if you feel like you're okay with the part of the game that's in one video in this playlist, there might still be things about the mechanics that might be useful for things that you're areas later on that you're not familiar with. So there we go. And when we're playing this, like I say, we'll be playing on New Game, and we'll also be playing with our settings as they need to be for a verified Grounded Permadeath run, either on speedrun.com or the Last of Us challenge runs. And if you're interested in either of those things, they are linked in the description. So if you play with other settings on that make things a little bit easier, it might actually be even easier for you to get through some of these areas. But the way we'll be playing this and the way this whole playlist will go out, obviously we'll be on Grounded difficulty, but we will also have lock on, aim off, awareness indicators off, high contrast display off, enhanced listen mode, infinite breath and skip puzzle options all off, and combat accessibility off. So again, if you want to get used to playing the game and this difficulty as the developers intend, because if you try to play with any of those settings on, the game does give you a notification suggesting that you turn them off. So this will help you get used to that difficulty kind of as intended. But equally, if you don't feel comfortable with that for whatever reason, or if you need a particular accessibility setting, this should in theory be even easier than what I'm about to show. But let's dive into it. I'm not going to be going through every single facet of the game and showing every single bit of loot that I pick up, every single upgrade I do on workbenches, all that sort of stuff. The strats that I'm going to show are strats that you can do whether you continually loot every area, open every safe and every shiv door, upgrade your weapons to the max, or, as I often do on my runs, only pick up basically what's in front of you, leave workbenches completely alone. These strats will still work. So with that said, I will see you again when we are in the chase with Joel, Holt and Sarah.
You told me. Well, hold on tight. Okay.
once we're running with Joel, Carrie and Sarah, there's not really much to say here. There's nothing in this area that's specifically to grounded or any difficulty poses any challenge. But I'm here to mention one thing that some people might not be aware of. And specifically it's this. If I can trigger it now. That death there is, if you go along the path I just followed, completely unavoidable. It's a death that is meant for an NPC, as you can see right in front of us. But it is possible for you to go ahead with that NPC and trigger it and have no way of getting out of it. It does not look like something that the developers intended to happen, because there's, like I say, there's no way of avoiding it, there's no way of predicting it. But it's just worth being aware of, particularly if you start doing permadeath runs. You want to avoid going too far towards those windows and generally stick to the middle of the street when you are doing that. That's the only thing to mention in the prologue, really. Other than that, we will now move on to Boston.
Oh, shit.
You okay?
Yeah. Damn ceiling's falling apart. Be careful.
Once you get into the first area with Spores and meet the guy who's been trapped under rubble and his mask is broke.
Watch it, watch it.
On grounded, there is no point in wasting any ammo on him.
Come back.
You just get the 2 bullets that are by him and go into the next area. And in here, there's kind of 2 basic ways that you can go through it. So, if you want to simply go through this area, then stay in a crouch walk, and then as soon as you get control, walk towards disinfected, but aim as you're going past them. That allows you to move at normal speed, but quieter. Once you crouch walking normally again, once you reach these kind of scattered debris, you can stand up, and you can even afford to sprint once you're on the second staircase, as long as you duck when you're on these planks, and then you can jump outside into the fresh air. Alternatively, if you do want to kill all these guys, then the most straightforward way to do that is to come up, strangle this first one, and then as you go out this side door here, as you're coming up to the nearest one, mash triangle to grab them, and then you should be able to punch the second without any issue.
All right, that's all of them.
If the second one does get a punch on you before you manage to take them out, and you do take some damage, up here there is a snack which should restore you to full health. But as you can see, when we are at full health, it just says full, so we're not able to pick it up. In this first area with 3 human enemies,
Let us through.
well, 2, once Tess takes care of the first one.
Our beef isn't with you.
There's 2 basic ways you can do this.
You don't wanna
One
do this.
is more straightforward and quick if you are confident in your own shooting skills.
Without Robert.
If you are not, the other takes a little bit longer, but will keep you a bit safer.
Fuck this.
Take cover!
So, if you're confident enough in your own shooting skills, then all you need is a good vantage
Get the
point.
angle on them.
2 headshots and you are home free. If you're not confident in your shooting, then I recommend going around to the right. Now, if you need to shoot and you don't think you can get headshots, then 2 body shots with a pistol will kill a human.
Keep at him.
As you can see, that's less than ideal because we did take damage there. So instead of putting yourself in harm's way, what I would recommend would be waiting wherever you feel comfortable. Take a shot. As you can see, we had a little bit of time there. We had like a second or so to line up a headshot and get it. If you don't get a headshot, if you get 1 shot, immediately duck back down rather than let the guy take a shot at you. and then you can let Tess take out the second one.
Nicely done, Texas.
It's not that difficult, but again, if you are in cover here, if you pop up, take a shot, and immediately duck down is one thing. If you pop up and take a shot and then aim again, you are likely to get shot in that moment. So again, it's just being aware of your own shooting skills and making sure you don't leave yourself open.
More of Robert's guys.
Shit, I see him.
In this next area, there's multiple different ways to do this, including full stealth, or some stealth and a little bit of aggression in different ways. So the full stealth route to this is to let Tess take out the first guy there, follow this one along, grab him and strangle him. And I tend to always start spamming triangle as I get close to them, just to make sure that they don't alert to me before I can press triangle to grab. Now with these two, you then want to wait until they're both facing away from you, so that you can grab one and Tess can grab the other.
Fireflies.
One thing to be aware of is that when you jump over a small wall like this, you want to press forward and X very lightly
I got a cousin with him.
and immediately let go before the vaulting animation starts.
Save the world. Hope he's all right.
You should then be able to grab one once the conversation is finished, and Tess will take care of the other. Now, if we don't want to go for full stealth, or if we don't want to wait till the conversation's finished, then we can take a couple of attacks by the window. One of them is to simply go in really aggressive.
I meant to tell you.
Jump over, sprint straight at the first guy.
You're gonna pay for that.
And then batter the second guy.
Hey.
Now, a couple of things to note there. You'll notice that there is a different amount of damage that Joel does when he goes a punch flat-footed, or when he does a punch sprinting like that. And also, when you are close enough to a wall edge, you can do additional damage by using those walls. So, for example, if we time this quicker, we immediately take this guy down.
You're dead, asshole.
So let's have a look at the difference between a normal flat-footed fist fight and sprint punches. So we just need one of these guys to come out to us.
Okay, go. Watch my back.
And that takes quite a long amount of time to kill. Whereas 2 sprint punches gives you your finisher. And if you're doing flat-footed punches, the likelihood of you having to do that move we just did, where he ducked your punch and then you had to counter with triangle, increase. Whereas if you do a sprint punch, it's a lot more straightforward. I mention this now because those melee moves will be particularly useful in later areas against humans and infected, particularly when you want to take out enemies quickly without taking much damage yourself. Another thing to mention here is there are two snacks in this room. So if you do take a punch from one of those guys, you can heal. 2 snacks will generally heal 2 punches. Also, in this whole area, including the next part, the game will generally rush to give you back 3 or 4 bullets no matter what you do. So if you do need to shoot at certain points, don't be too worried about it, because you won't be too out of ammo as long as you don't completely miss all of your shots.
Hey, consolidated the crates in the south warehouse. Supplies are locked up.
Good.
Here, once all of the 3 enemies have gone past the door, you can go up to it and just wait by the doorway here. And then as the first enemy is approaching, we can spam triangle and Joel will leap out to grab him and strangle him. As soon as that's done, we can immediately stand up and trot over to here. We want to go to a crouch before this bar so that we can still sneak up on this guy and drag him back behind this pallet here. Once he's dead again, we can stand up, and once we're out the doorway, we can afford to sprint, ducking just before the top of the stairs. We should then be able to grab and strangle this guy unseen. There is a slight chance that this guy across from us will see you and you'll have to react to that, but most times he doesn't. And so we can wait here until the one comes inside the office. We can grab him, turn him around just so we know that his friend isn't looking at him. Grab our health kit there. Then move around. There's a shiv here, but we don't want to grab it whilst we're in combat. Instead, once we've grabbed and killed him as the last enemy, then we can grab it, because even if you're in the middle of combat, this animation that Joel's about to do, where he gets up, examines it, and puts his flashlight on, the game will still make you do that, even if there are enemies around. So you do not want to grab the shiv before you've killed all the enemies.
Let's do this.
And with them all dead, you should have a health kit, you should still have a bottle, and you should have a shiv. Now, in the main key area, there's a couple of ways that you can get through this. I'm going to go through, first of all, the stealth way, and then the fast way. The stealth way you can do from a restart checkpoint, although just be aware that the pattern that you have to deal with at the very start will be different. So where I can move now immediately to the right, and as long as I'm in cover, I'm not at risk of being seen by the first enemy. If you restart a checkpoint, then their position will be slightly different, and so you'll have to move with that enemy that we're going towards being further to the left, and so it'll slow down your movement slightly. But if we're starting from the very beginning of the encounter, then we can just follow him like so. Obviously, when he turns towards us, as he did briefly, we just make sure we're in cover, and then once he's facing away, we can just grab him and strangle him. Should be able to pick up a melee weapon on the way. And again, grab and strangle. At that point, we can go back here. And we're able to trot for most of this distance. Back to the opposite side. We can grab a second shiv and wander around to the left in order to come behind this guy. There is a slight chance as you grab the shiv and then move past, he might soft alert and move towards your position, but it just changes where you chase him from. So if he walks into this container, you just follow him a little bit further and strangle him. He shouldn't fully alert on you unless you are sprinting or jogging at that point. So as long as you're crouch walking at the point that I crouch walked, then even if he does soft alert on you, it shouldn't change the strategy that much. After which we can then go over this cover and we're waiting for our next guy. He is going to see at least one of the two bodies that we first killed and go towards it to investigate.
Jesus.
He might see both and get distracted by the second one from the first one.
Oh, God.
Which is even better. Either way, it gives us time to get behind him and kill him like so.
Not bad.
And then we can come back here. Now, this guy soft alerting isn't an issue. We simply throw a brick at him, grab him, and strangle him. If he hadn't soft alerted on us, we could have gone all the way through here and strangled him while he's waiting behind this crate, but like I say, it doesn't matter. Now, just a note on bricks and bottles here. For this last guy will provide a good, like, useful tutorial. Now, bricks are more useful than bottles in the fact that they will kill. You can punch with a brick 3 times, whereas you can only punch with a bottle once before it breaks. I'll cover more about bricks when we get to clickers, but even with bottles, there is some use in them. So, for example, we can't get a lock on here, as you can see. There's no lock on throw happening unless we get very close to him. However, if we press square, Joel immediately magnetizes to him, even from a fairly considerable distance, to smash him over the head with it. So, if you're not in a position where you can get a lock-on throw with a bottle, but you are close enough that you think you can hit them by pressing square instead of throw, it's worth doing, especially because the throw won't knock the enemy quite so decisively to his knees the way that the punch does.
Keep it up.
Again, just to reiterate, bricks are preferable. The bottles do have one disadvantage in particular, in that if you swing the bottle with a punch and miss, Joel does this. And while he's spinning the bottle in his hand, you cannot move in any direction. Joel just stays still until the animation is finished. Enemies who you might have missed with the bottle, though, can carry on. So, if you're not fully confident that you'll get the bottle hit from that animation, then the other one you can do is a sprinting punch with the bottle, which has the same effect damage-wise, but does mean that Joel doesn't do the spin animation. The only ones not to do that with are clickers. If you want to get through this area faster, but risk taking some damage, then the other strategy you can do is as follows. Once we drop down, And before we get control,
That cocky
we're going to be holding sprint
Let's go wrap this up.
and forward and mashing X. And then as soon as we bolt, we let go of sprint or carry on holding forward. And then we're waiting for these guys to alert on us, at which point we run. As you say, there's a risk of taking damage. Duck here just to be safe. And then you can move through. I did take a lot of damage there. I'm going to do that again and show you that it's not always quite as much as that. But again, to reiterate, there is an extreme risk. The other thing that we want to do in this area is to try and move our camera so that it's facing away from the enemies that we're running away from, because their accuracy is reduced if the camera isn't on them. So that can help minimize the chances of taking damage there. And then as we get to this final enemy, we want to keep an eye. His position will vary. So it's more about reacting to his position as we duck for safety, and then kind of take our chance to go and hit him over the head and kill him. And he has to die in order for us to be able to go through there. The only way he doesn't have to die is if for any reason he ran away from the door area. So if he's guarding the door, he has to die for us to be able to pass through.
This way.
If you don't pick up the shivs earlier in the game, so as you can see we've not picked them up, then one spawns here and one will spawn at the end of the upcoming encounter. This is true for a number of other things, particularly craftables that you're being introduced to the first time. If you don't pick them up at one point, the game will keep trying to give you them at other points. And it's worth being aware of that, particularly if you miss something. It's not the end of the world.
I ain't a big fan of these odds.
We can sneak by them, even though I know that's not your style.
We'll see how it goes. Let's get moving.
Now, whatever your strategy is, you can sprint from the beginning of this area all the way up to the stairs, as long as you stop before you are at the top.
You picked the wrong day to screw with us. Go fuck
And then what we're going to do first of all is a full stealth strat. So again, once we vault over here, immediately let go of forward and X. Spam triangle to grab this guy, and Marlene grabs the other guy at the same time.
Good. Stay quiet.
And then we can carry on. If you've taken a lot of damage for any reason, if you're like on red screen, a health kit will sometimes spawn there, so you don't necessarily have to use your first health kit.
Numbers today.
And if you can avoid healing, you will get a health regen later. Again, careful vaulting is important here.
Good.
And then all of these guys you can always kill in the same order. The only one that varies is the position of the final guy who goes down by the door of the exit. So as you're moving, you just need to keep an eye on where he is, because he might come back up earlier than anticipated, in which case he might catch you in the middle of strangling this guy, for example. If he does, then it's simply a case of taking cover and waiting for your opportunity. Or if the stealth goes as normal, we can just wait for him at the top of the stairs. And then as he's coming back, we'll just want to spam triangle with Joel so that he can grab him and kill him. Like so. Alternatively, if you want to get through this area fast, then we're going to take pretty much the same route from the start.
You picked the wrong day to screw with us. Go fuck yourself.
Make sure we grab the brick on the way. Let go of forward and X here. Wait for a second or two. And then carry on walking through. We can stand from about here. Throw the brick before we vault. And then run
I got you covered.
straight past
Don't lose sight of him.
to the end door. I'm going to do this again because the
We need to get to that door.
end RNG can vary slightly.
You picked the wrong day to screw with us.
Go fuck yourselves.
Okay, watch yourselves. We're outnumbered today.
Hear him running. Step it up. On it.
As you see, the positions are different, but we still made it through. Even if you take a shot there, you generally make it all the way through. The only other thing to mention, you may have seen that I equipped my pistol and then swapped to my med kit. And as the swap animation was happening, I pressed triangle while we were over the brick, and that allowed me to pick up another brick. The reason that I did this is because this is basically a way of quick picking things up while running without doing the bending over animation. You can do this as well by swapping from a long gun to a short gun or vice versa, as long as you pick up at the last moment while the other animation is ongoing. It overrides the animation so that you still do the pickup, but you don't bend down and slow down in order to do so. It's mainly a technique used for speedrunning, but it's also useful in situations where you want to pick something up while running away, but don't want to slow yourself down. So I mentioned it there just to be aware of the technique of it. It takes a little bit of practice to get used to, but once you do, it's fairly straightforward. If you enjoyed this video, then give it a like and consider subscribing to keep up to date with all my content. Like the video that's just popped up, which YouTube thinks you should watch next. This is a Patreon and member supported channel, so if you want to become a member and unlock custom badges and emojis, early access to my videos, and your name in the credits, then click the join button below. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.